Welcome to Pages to Prosperity, where we dive deep into the most impactful books and uncover lessons to fuel your growth. Today, we're exploring Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, a fascinating dive into how our minds work and how understanding our thought processes can lead to smarter decisions and a better life. So, grab a comfortable seat and let's explore how the human brain thinks. Let's begin with a story. Imagine this. You're shopping at the grocery store and you see two options for yogurt. One is labeled 90% fat-free and the other says 10% fat. Without overthinking, you probably reach for the 90% fat-free one, right? It sounds healthier, even though both options are the same. That's the kind of instinctive decision-making Daniel Kahneman calls System 1 thinking: quick, automatic, and emotional. Now think of this. You're working on a tricky math problem. You slow down, analyze the numbers, and methodically calculate the answer. That's System 2 thinking: deliberate, logical, and effortful. These two systems are the foundation of Kahneman's book. Let's dive deeper into how they shape our choices. System 1, the fast thinker. System 1 is our brain's autopilot. It's the intuitive part of us that reacts without effort. Kahneman uses an example of recognizing a friend's face in a crowd. You don't consciously process each feature. You just know it's them. But here's the catch. While System 1 is great for quick judgments, it often leads to mistakes. Let me share a story Kahneman describes. He talks about firefighters who entered a burning house. Suddenly, the commander yelled, "Everyone out." Moments later, the floor collapsed. The commander couldn't explain why he reacted that way. It was pure instinct. But upon reflection, he realized the fire's heat and silence signaled something was wrong. That's System 1 at its best, using experience to make split-second, life-saving decisions. Yet System 1 also gets us into trouble. For instance, ever heard of the halo effect? It's when one good quality of a person, like being attractive, makes us assume they're also smart or kind. This bias is a classic System 1 error. System 2, the slow thinker. System 2, on the other hand, is like the brain CEO. It's analytical, logical, and deliberate. You use System 2 when you're filing taxes, planning a big move, or analyzing risks. But here's the thing. System 2 is lazy. Kahneman tells us about an experiment where participants were asked, if a bat and ball cost $1.10 together, and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how much does the ball cost? Most people blurt out 10 cents without thinking, but the real answer is 5 cents. This mistake happens because System 1 jumps in, and System 2 doesn't bother to check the work. The lesson? Slowing down and engaging System 2 can help us avoid costly errors. The anchoring effect: how numbers trick us. Have you ever noticed how your mind fixates on the first piece of information you see? This is called the anchoring effect. Kahneman shares an experiment where participants spun a wheel of fortune that landed on a random number between 1 and 100. Then they were asked how many African countries are in the United Nations. Those who got a high number, like 65, guessed a higher number of countries, while those with a low number, like 10, guessed lower. This shows how irrelevant information, like a random number, can influence our decisions. So, next time you're negotiating a price, be mindful of anchors. They might sway you without you realizing it. Loss aversion: why we hate losing. Here's another fascinating insight. We hate losing more than we love winning. Kahneman calls this loss aversion. He shares a story of a study where participants were asked to flip a coin. If it landed heads, they'd lose $10. If it landed tails, they'd win $15. Rationally, most people should take the bet because the reward outweighs the risk. But most refused because the pain of losing $10 felt greater than the joy of gaining $15. This explains why people often hold on to losing investments or avoid taking chances that could benefit them. The planning fallacy: overestimating ourselves. Have you ever started a project thinking, "This will take a week," only for it to drag on for months? That's the planning fallacy, our tendency to underestimate how long things will take. Kahneman shares a story from his own life. While working on a textbook, He and his team estimated they'd finish in 2 years. It ended up taking 8. They failed to consider unforeseen challenges, something most of us do. The lesson: always build an extra time for the unexpected. So, how can you apply all this in your daily life? Let's break it down. Pause before reacting. Recognize when System 1 is driving your decisions and engage System 2 for more thoughtful choices. Be aware of biases. Look out for the halo effect, anchoring, and loss aversion. They can distort your judgment. Plan for the worst. When setting goals, consider potential obstacles and give yourself extra time. Focus on big decisions. Kahneman reminds us that not all choices require deep analysis. Save your mental energy for what really matters. As we wrap up, remember this: our minds are incredible, but they're not perfect. By understanding how we think, we can make better decisions and lead more fulfilling lives. If you enjoyed this summary, make sure to share it with others and subscribe to Pages to Prosperity for more life-changing insights. Let's keep growing and making smarter choices together. See you in the next summary.